commemorate the end of the World War II, given Chinese distortion of history and threats against the island. This comes as China, which views Taiwan as its own territory, invited Taiwanese veterans who fought against Japan to the parade next month, which will be overseen by President Xi Jinping. According to reports, Taiwan has denounced China for using this year's 80th anniversary of the war's end for political purposes against Taipei, saying Beijing has falsely claimed it was the Communist Party that led the fighting against Japan rather than the Republic of China's government, which at time ruled China. Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council Minister Chiu Chui-cheng has also said that the People's Republic of China did not even exist during World War II. Now for this discussion, we are joined by Andrew K.P. Long. He's a China strategist, joins us live from London. Thank you, Andrew, for joining us today. Good to see you. Now, Taiwan has criticized China's attempt to politicize World War II commemoration events. How do you see China's invitation and how do you see Taiwan's response?
Well, this is a pivotal moment in history where the devastation and suffering of humankind as a result of the Second World War has now been being revisited, especially in China, because at that time China was very weak. It came after China was partitioned by various Western powers and following by the invasion by Japan, occupying about a third of Japan, when the government of the day, which is the Republic of China, the Kuomintang, it was extremely corrupt and very unpopular with its people, and that led to the uprising and influence of the Chinese Communist Party, catering for the suffering of the vast majority of the Chinese people, and they rose up in arms to fight the Japanese as well. But of course they were very well ill-equipped, whereas the Kuomintang was equipped by the American armament, and some of the soldiers were trained. And then the nationalists, the Kuomintang, took advantage of these military equipment and training to drive out the communists. There was a kind of witch hunt of all the communist elements, while at the same time there was a Japanese invasion, and then creating huge suffering and great devastation and loss of human lives, women and children across the land. And of course the Kuomintang had some wins against the Japanese, but I think that the war against Japan's invasion was tilted by also to a great extent by all the guerrillas, the uprising of the people across the land, organized by the communists. And then, of course, there's also great suffering of lives and sacrifices. So I think that at the end of the day, the Japanese were bogged down largely, and also there was with losses in the Asia Pacific because of the after the Pearl Harbor debacle. And then the Americans were pushing back the Japanese. So I think that all parties had a role to play. But of course, the Chinese Communist Party organizing the people of China across the land to oppose the Japanese through guerrilla tactics, walking down the Japanese, and also had scored major victories against the Japanese army, is a game changer in the history of fighting against the Japanese. And that's something which, of course, the Chinese government is celebrating and is commemorating to show that in front against foreign aggression, the united forces of the Chinese people is always able to win the day.
And Andrew, now Building on your answer, do you think could this tension over historical accuracy complicate potential dialogue or reconciliation between Taiwan and China?
Well, I think that this reconciliation can only happen when Taiwan is formally part of China, which has always been tracing back hundreds of years in China's history. And don't forget that as far back as the Ming Dynasty, that was before the Qing Dynasty, in the 1600s, Taiwan was already ruled by the Ming Dynasty with the Chinese general, the Jiang Chenggong, stationed in Taiwan. And also after the Nixon visit to China, formalizing the normal diplomatic relationship between the United States and the People's Republic of China under Mao Zedong, Taiwan was de-recognized as a nation by the United Nations and recognizing Beijing instead. So there was a one China policy, and of course that the Americans took advantage of the opportunity to introduce the Taiwan Relations Act, empowering the American government to continue to supply arms to Taiwan to defend itself, but without committing the United States to be engaged in a war against mainland China. So I think that the United States government continues to place the Taiwan card, and then pushing the envelope. For example, the last Nancy Pelosi visit resulted in a huge military exercises surrounding Taiwan, and this time around, under the new leader in Taiwan, which is known to be a separatist, there are dangers in the fracturing of further relations. And of course, Beijing always wants Taiwan to reunite with the motherland peacefully, and exemplified by a series of white papers issued during the past several decades, the last coinciding with the visit of Nancy Pelosi's provocative visit to Taiwan, but always stressing the importance of peaceful unifications as the two territories. The people are increasingly visiting each other in terms of travel, and a lot of Taiwanese businesses or young people establishing their businesses on the mainland, and of course the mainland also businesses interacting with Taiwan's. And then, of course, the Taiwan economy depends hugely on the mainland. So all these dynamics are going to translate into a closer ties between the two people, unless, of course, the Taiwan leaders struck this kind of pro-independence movement combined with provocative acts by the United States, and that could trigger some kind of a conflict over the Taiwan Straits, which is to nobody's benefit.
Yes.
So I think that we've got to watch this space very carefully.
Yes. Thank you very much, Andrew, for sharing that insight. Please stay with us as